Hi guys, welcome. So in this reading, I'm going to be looking at something in your life that you keep pushing or holding on to or trying to manage, even though it's already caused pain or exhaustion to you. So this is all about being honest about what you're still pushing or forcing and why it hasn't been able to move forward. So let's start with the first question. And that will be, what is the situation in your life that you are still forcing, even though it has already hurt you or drained you? Let's see. What is the situation in your life that you are still pushing or forcing, even though it has already hurt you or drained you? Let's see. We have Ace of Swords, Three of Pentacles, and we have the Temperance. So here I see you trying to force clarity and cooperation here in something that only stays stable because you keep adjusting yourself. So with the Ace of Swords, I see you wanting things to be clear and defined. You want the truth on the table here. You want things to make sense. And I feel like you're pushing for honest conversation or explanations or agreement and trying just to cut through the confusion so this can finally feel settled. And then with the Three of Pentacles, I see you trying to work with the situation instead of stepping away from it. So you're putting effort into this. You are believing that if everyone just communicates and, work with each other, that this can stay functional. And then with the Temperance, I see you constantly adjusting yourself, moderating yourself. You're holding back emotions. You are adjusting expectations here. It's like you're trying to keep things calm and balanced even when it doesn't come naturally. So I just see you here explaining instead of resting and compromising instead of stepping back. And I see you being very patient here and reasonable and kind of controlled to keep things from tipping over. So I feel like you're doing the work of balance almost alone here. I feel like you're just forcing things to stay workable because this situation only functions because you keep smoothing it out. And that's why this feels draining for you. Um, I feel like you're stuck in a situation where you want to talk something through and make it work, but it just works because you keep regulating it. And I don't think this is any kind of crisis situation. It's like a maintenance situation. Like, this could be an ongoing conversation with someone to clear things up or explaining your point in a calm way so things don't escalate, you know. But I feel like you're just trying to make something to work here. And not because it's healthy, but because you don't want disorder, you don't want confusion or unresolved tension. Um, so you just want clarity when the situation feels unclear and you want some balance. Um, this could be a connection, this could be a family thing. This could be any situation in your life. It could be work. But I feel like this situation exists because you keep managing it. And if you stop explaining and adjusting or smoothing it over, it would either change on its own or it would fall apart. And that tells you everything. So, um, what do I want to ask next? So let's see, what is this costing you? Um, what cost are you going to be paying by continuing to manage and balance this situation instead of stepping back? Let's see. What emotional cost are you going to be paying by continuing to manage and balance this situation instead of stepping back? We've got Three of Cups, we've got Chariot, and we've got the Knight of Wands. So here I see that the emotional cost is going to show up as you being restless, but it's going to be disguised as you being fine. With the Three of Cups, I feel like, just trying to keep things light, staying friendly, staying positive, staying okay about it. So you are downplaying how much this actually affects you, so it doesn't feel heavy or awkward, either for you or for other people in this situation or another person. Um, because on the surface, it looks like you're handling it, but on the inside, it's a different story. And then we have the Chariot. So this is costing you in a way that you constantly push yourself forward. You just try to keep the momentum going here, staying in control, not letting yourself slow down enough to really feel what this is doing to you. So you're using movement and determination to avoid being in discomfort. Like this feels like an effort all the time. And then we have the Knight of Wands, and this is a deeper cost for you. This is a nervous kind of energy, wanting change, wanting relief, wanting something to move, but not knowing where to put that energy. So it comes out as irritation, restlessness, or that feeling of, you just want this to stop, and that's it. So, this could look like you keeping yourself busy. You stay out on the outside, you stay upbeat or composed, but inside you feel so unsettled. And you're constantly pushing yourself to move on without actually letting yourself slow down and disengage. So that's a big emotional cost here. You know, you're actually burning energy trying to stay okay. And then you kind of start losing patience with yourself. And this is a lot of tension that doesn't get released because you never fully step out of the situation. So if you keep managing this, um, it will keep you moving, but you're not going to be grounded. It's going to keep you functioning, but you're going to feel all kinds of things that are not good. So by continuing this, you actually trade real emotional rest for just this moment of feeling like you're doing something good. So you would stay active and social and, keep moving, but you don't feel at ease here. That's the cost. So now I want to see, what are you actually afraid will happen if you stop managing this and just fully step back? Let's see. What are you actually afraid will happen if you fully step back from managing this situation and just step back? We have the Magician, the Devil, makes sense, and we have the Seven of Wands. So starting with the Magician, I feel like you're afraid of losing control here. There's a belief that if you don't stay involved, or if you don't explain, or um, control this, or just keep steering things, the situation would spin in a direction that you cannot manage. That's what you are afraid of here. Like you are used to being the one who makes sense of things, who keeps this, working. So stepping back feels like giving up your ability to influence the outcome. That's the magician here. And then with the devil, it goes deeper. And this is not just about control, this is about attachment. So I see fear of being pulled into discomfort if you let go, like fear of being empty or, retreating, or you're afraid of the reality that this has more power over you than you want to admit. Because managing this keeps you connected, and letting go means that you need to face the pull without engaging it. And then we have the Seven of Wands. So, I see you being guarded and bracing yourself, kind of, not in a bad kind of way, but just feeling like you have to stay on defense to protect your position, your choice, your sense of self. You actually look calm in this picture, but it's still the defense mechanism. So there is a worry that if you step back, you will lose ground, or you're going to feel exposed. Because here, you are in your little bubble here. So, I feel like you stay involved in this because you don't want to feel powerless, and you keep engaging so you don't feel the full weight of detaching from the situation, because you are attached to this. Not in a good way either. Devil is usually the unhealthy way of being attached. And you stay alert and defensive because letting your guard down would feel very unsafe. So you're not afraid of stepping back because things might fall apart. I feel like you're afraid because stepping back means that you do not control the outcome. Trusting yourself enough to stop defending your position and feeling the pull without acting on it with the devil. So I feel like that feels very vulnerable for you. So this fear is not weakness, it's a sign that you've been holding more responsibility than what was ever meant to be yours here, and yours alone. So let's see what happens when you actually release control. What would happen if you release control on this situation? And don't feel bad about this, because we can all be control freaks sometimes, thinking that we are doing good things. So we have Two of Swords, Five of Swords, and Eight of Wands. So if you release control, the first thing that happens here is you feeling the discomfort. With the Two of Swords, I see you being in this uncertain energy instead of managing it. There's no fixing, there's no deciding for anyone, there is no smoothing things over. So you don't immediately feel the peace, but you feel the pause. This is that in-between space where you don't know what's next yet. But honestly, that's the part that you've been avoiding by staying involved in this. And then we have the Five of Swords, and this is conflict, but not the kind that you're used to managing. This is internal conflict. This is yours. So I feel like you might question yourself. You might wonder if you made the wrong call, and feel like you're like you lost something by stepping back. And this can come out as guilt, second guessing yourself, or the feeling of you thinking that you just gave up. It's not failure. It's just you retreating from a power struggle that you were tired of fighting. And then Eight of Wands, and this is showing what happens once this feeling goes away. I think that things will start moving quickly. You get your clarity back really fast. The momentum returns, but this time without you forcing it, because Eight of Wands is all about the momentum. So I see messages that you don't expect, or shifts or changes that you didn't plan for, or just sudden emotional movement, either from others or inside of you. So the situation doesn't stay stuck once you stop controlling it. It either shows you exactly what it is, or it just clears out of your way. So this can look like, you feeling very unsettled at first, then you feel very irritated or doubtful, and then suddenly things starts to move. And then the answers come faster than they ever did when you were managing everything. So the honest truth here is that releasing control would feel uncomfortable before it feels liberating. But once you stop holding the tension, the situation can start moving on its own. And you do not lose any power by stepping back. You just expose what was only standing because you were holding it up. So that's what would actually happen. So the whole reading here keeps pointing to the same pattern. You've been holding something together by staying involved, explaining, adjusting, managing it. Not because it was healthy, but because letting go felt more uncomfortable than staying in control. But, the emotional cost has been constant effort here for you. Staying upbeat, staying in motion, staying alert, that's exhausting. Never really resting because you were always keeping things from tipping over. So, what's been underneath that is a fear of losing control for you, of not knowing what would happen if you step back. But the cards are very clear about this part, because when you stop managing it, things do not break down, they move. There's a pause here. There's some internal conflict, and then clarity comes faster than it ever did while you were forcing balance. So the truth here is that this situation only stayed in place because you kept holding it there. And once you let go, it either shows you exactly what it is, or it just clears out of your life. So this wasn't about fixing it. It was about realizing that you do not need to keep controlling this or keep carrying this. And once you stop, your energy comes back, your mind settles, and things finally move on their own. That's the message here. So if you resonate with this, make sure you leave me a comment. And if you need a personal reading, the links for my shops are in the description. And I'll see you in the next reading.